It's on. For real this time. Probably not my best idea doing this on a couple hours of sleep, but yeah, ended up getting site of the day today. So thank you to everyone who supported, voted. I don't know how this happened, but yeah, it did. So I figure I would just hop on and do a little stream, kind of talking about more Webflow stuff. And also, I think I literally just pushed it live. It might be broken. Kind of some of the beauty of Webflow and having flexibility. Oh, I broke it. That's good. What was I gonna say? Of being able to like promote certain things on a very short notice. Like I think so for me, like finding out yesterday I had side of the day. I was planning on streaming yesterday, just kind of talking about more design because it seems like design's kind of where there's more interest at this point. And found out it's getting side of the day, and then now with a lot of traffic being driven to my site, I want to kind of leverage that opportunity and promote the live stream. Oh no, put my computer to sleep. So last night I was working on like just a quick thing to try and embed it on my site, and I don't know if that actually worked or not. Let's see, let's go. Oh, I don't have the. I'm like picking up the pieces right now. So bear with me if the beginning is a little rough. And I know these streams in general are kind of rough around the edges, but I'm not a streamer. I don't like being in front of a camera, but here we are. And my hair's a mess. I don't know, it's one of those things today. But let's see. Well, my update did not work. Sorry, I keep talking about it, but then I'm just not showing it. Let's see. Chrome browser. Hey, so you see this little guy at the bottom? Oh, you can't see my cursor either. Unless I do desktop streaming, which I'd kind of like to avoid doing, just because I have some other stuff open. I'll probably need to dive into it at some point. And the plan is to just kind of probably talk more about the website, take any questions anyone has, and then get into kind of whatever. Like if there's, I mean, there's more and more people subscribing, which is awesome and crazy, and I'm super appreciative of it. And that might pivot how I'm able to do these streams, so I don't have to have as much of a plan. I can kind of just interact and take questions, give feedback, kind of whatever makes the most sense. If you're new to this, I'm basically just I'm kind of formalizing my work sessions. I'm kind of always working, so and right now as an independent, I don't really have anyone I manage, so I don't really get to kind of share any insights of stuff I'm learning, and I've kind of come to appreciate the value of that. So if I can do that, kind of at some sort of scale or some sort of impact, because I've just to this point all I've used the internet for is just taking. So if I can kind of give back, and I'm probably not the best person, and this is like, I feel like I always need to caveat this shit. Like, I'm not gonna tell anyone what to do. There's plenty of people who love to do that, but that's not gonna be me. So this is what it's supposed to look like, by the way, kind of jumping back. And I'm probably gonna be all over the place, so bear with me today. I'm running on a lot of coffee and Cliff Bars right now, so yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, like I don't. Somehow auto start got turned on in Streamlabs, so I was sitting here talking with my girlfriend about like almond croissants, I think, and I don't know what else. So I apologize. I think there was someone who actually wrote something. Ari sent me a message It's like, hey, you know you're live right now, and I did not. So thank you to Ari for bringing that shit to my attention, because I was definitely, I don't think it was anything too embarrassing, but you know, what can you do? Let's see. Um, Back at this again. James, what's going on, man? Sorry, I'm like just pulling up the chat over on the side. I have no idea how many people are actually here right now, as I don't have the like the stream pulled up in studio, but that's okay. I can see the chat though, so again, like if you have any questions and if it's not related to what I'm doing, no worries. I figured with side of the day, again, trying to capitalize on some traffic coming to my site, and see if this can kind of grow into something. So kind of the logical place for me to start, but from there, like maybe photos, maybe video. There's that stupid song at the beginning of my live stream. That's just like a bunch of drums that I just put together, kind of guilty pleasure drums, so it's not really great representation of me, but I worked on some stuff last night when I really shouldn't have. So there's another version of that. I don't know if we want to get into that. I'm down for whatever, basically, or just bullshitting. Seriously, like I have an idea of how I might use this time, but if there's any valuable things that anyone wants to pick my brain about, for whatever it's worth, let's do it. So, so yeah, one thing I want to fix real fast is this sort of live stream notification. So it should, in all theory, like if I could actually see it, it should show the thumbnail. But the problem is like this is an embed, and I don't think there's a height attribute to it. So what's 16 divided by 9, 1.778. 40 divided by 1.778, 22.4. It's close. I wonder if that would fix it. Let me test this. I'm curious because like I really want to see if this works. I mean, with so much traffic being driven here, and this is kind of what they're greeted with at first, and the close button doesn't work. I don't know. It's off to a good start. This is what happens when you just do things kind of last minute. Yeah, and I like the one thing with Webflow is like when you start using embeds, you kind of have to, I don't know, be more careful because it doesn't inherit a lot of heights. Like I think it does. I don't know. I always had problems with it. Like when I embed, so some of the stuff, I think it's probably still going to be an issue. Yeah, like this baseline here, I don't really know what's going on here. In the editor, it looks correct, and I have these styles duplicated in a div. So like each of these is in the embed code. I reference those same exact divs, the same exact structure. And for some reason, it's something with like alignment. I don't know why it's not translating. Damn, a couple people here. Abdul, what's going on, man? Thank you for coming through here. And yeah, side of the day, kind of wild. Stoked. Like it, I wasn't sure. You look at something long enough, and especially like doing the development, you really start questioning everything and think that everything sucks. So yeah, it's kind of good to know I haven't totally lost it. And it's, again, I keep talking about this, but like there's nothing really fancy about it. I did add some fade in when things scroll into view. I don't really like it. Maybe that's something I can work on today. it's just kind of a old school kind of website, I guess, with some organic type. But yeah, it's nothing wild. James, just noticed the right-click warning on your website. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like if the authorities haven't been notified, but you know, I've I've done my share of right-clicking, and I know what happens after you right-click typically, and that's where things start disappearing or showing up in comps, and I don't know. I don't really have any high-res images on my site, so I don't know how good anything is, or if anyone would really want it. But yeah, it's I don't know. I've always historically been kind of protective of my stuff, so really people don't have any business poking around in code. But I just saw that it was something you could do, and it's a chance for me to be an idiot. So I literally just couldn't help myself. It's like one of those things. Um, Malik, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, side of the day. Kind of wild. Baseline looks completely okay in my system. Yeah, you know, I not totally surprised. I really don't know what's going on here. I guess I could show this real fast. So it's actually on the XL viewport where it's happening. Actually, it does look wrong. So this is what gets weird, and I can't. So this is the code. So href slug. So this is how I do a lot of anchor linking. If you're ever wondering, so this is all CMS powered. So these purple fields are pulled from the CMS. So anytime I go through and update this, it all dynamically it populates the content and it populates the nav on the side, which took a lot of extra work, but it's definitely worth it for the long run. But I really don't know what's going on here. So this is, look at the structure here. I have the hero anchor title duplicated, but I have it with a combo class of off. So I created a class called off and just set it to visibility none. So anytime I add a combo class, which shortcut is command return, I just put in off and it hides it. The problem though, I've requested this from Webflow and like no one wanted it on the wish list. I don't really understand. But it still loads the content and there's no option to not load the content. So if you do a lot of explorations within Webflow, but you turn off the visibility, it's still loading it, which to me isn't great. I kind of wish it didn't do that. But not much can be done about that. Not that I'm aware of. So I just was looking at this a second ago and it looked fine. But so I'll turn the combo class off so you can see the duplicate. And so this is literally just for setting styles. But you can see that's too low. Why? I don't think it's the auto. Just check the chat again. I'm looking for some design. Always wanted to get it listed in awards. Yeah, I mean, like definitely like submit for awards. Awards is one of those things for me. It's I think it's a great networking tool. It's like what wins and what doesn't always make the most sense, if you ask me. It's kind of a popularity contest, and there's like the cool kids who always end up winning, no matter what they put out. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna get me in trouble. But it's like a lot of kind of whatever sites that like people can rile enough people up to vote for. I don't know. So like you can't take them too seriously. That's why like I don't know how many people really know what I do. Um, I've been kind of behind. I'm the cool kid now. I don't know, man. I have a hard time believing that, but I certainly do appreciate it. Now why is this high? Staying high, always. Oh, it's aligned to the top. Why? Since when? Aligned to the bottom. Move. Move here. Okay, so that was on me. So sometimes like I'm using grid as like the way to organize everything, and you just kind of have to catch these alignments. And the problem for me is I don't know like the flex child, or if you use Flexbox, like the different, there's multiple alignment tools. Let's see. So there's a line on the grid child and a line of the layout within that, and sometimes I don't know which one's doing which, so I just start like, I'm just gonna set everything to the bottom and see what happens, and that's kind of what just happened there. But I do want to go back and fix that, so that's good. Actually, I think where's my list? Yeah, so I have like I use things is my way of tracking things, and I have a post-launch kind of to-do list, wish list thing. And I think this was on there. It wasn't, but I'm going to add it and I'm going to check it off because it feels nice to check things off. I don't know what it is. It's really cathartic when like checking boxes. And it's kind of funny because my brother's a product manager and I give him shit for checking boxes for a living. And here I am talking about how great it is to check boxes. So I doubt he's here. If he is, he's probably laughing his ass off. Let's see, original baseline alignment, done. Okay. Fix this clusterfuck on my homepage. So I can close these guys. So I did push it to the development site. Nope, didn't do it. Let's see, I can hide this. Ari didn't have time for you? Yeah. No, Ari, I didn't want to drive Ari crazy. I think we kind of talked about maybe doing a site. What if I do 30 view height? Why is it? Oh, max height. Where'd that come from? Oh, see, also you have to pay attention. Like, I was trying to fix a problem in the XL viewport, and I didn't realize that I never came back. Like, desktop kind of all looks the same after a little while. So yeah, got to be careful of that. So the main viewport, so it's like upward and downward. Everything trickles off of this main viewport. So anything up will inherit this unless you specify, and everything down will inherit the values from desktop unless you specify. Probably very basic for people who are in Webflow, but that's, I don't know. There's probably might be people coming here just trying to understand Webflow and kind of what it's all about. I mean, it's super powerful. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's shout out to Webflow. Like, I've got my beef with some things, but literally wouldn't be possible for me to have a stream or have my site. Let's see, is my window off the bottom? Sorry, I think it is. Let me fix this. Noob streamer, thank you for putting up with me. It's not going to be perfect. Good enough for me, though. We'll do a little bit. Okay. Sorry, yeah, like the bottom of the screen went off. And so I'm learning all this streaming stuff, so definitely bear with me. But yeah, I really need to figure out this stupid thing. So height auto, that's where I think the problem's coming in, because it's not picking up the height of the embed for some reason. So I tried specifying the height of the container to 22.4, which should be 16.9 aspect ratio, but it's not working. I don't think I think I set the height of the overall to 100% or auto, but maybe that needs to be specified. I'd rather not, but desperate times. So let's test this. And so this is where it's frustrating, like where things in the preview don't line up with what goes live. And that's with like embeds kind of start getting a little dicey. Not dicey. It's just like if you need something to be like one-to-one, it's not always. And you kind of need, like once you start going in the embed route, you kind of need to know like how things work, how to fix them, because you can kind of create a headache really quickly. So let's see, do you have to be irreproachable to make it on Awwwards, talking about syntax or whatever, or does the result matter more? Irreproachable. That's a good word. Let me make sure I got the right. It's early. I didn't get a lot of sleep. Syntax. I mean, the result matters. I think it's a combination of like I've always been naive thinking that like the best work is what's going to kind of get pushed through all of like the algorithms. I believed it with Instagram. I believed it with like Dribble. I chose the path of like not talking about myself for years. I don't know. I've kind of been conditioned to like not take credit for things and not acknowledge my contributions to things. Motherfucker. So this is where I might go into figure out what's going on here. And there's like a whole thing I can go into. Oh, it's inheriting the max. Oh, I'm really stupid. It has been working. Except the close doesn't work. Fuck. So the problem is, what I was viewing was the XL viewport, so I built this large notification off of a smaller one, which is just like a thin pin line. That's probably what a lot of people saw. Yeah, there you go. So maybe I can go back to auto with this. Sorry, I'm jumping all over. I just really want to get this fixed, and then I swear like I'm gonna like take some time and put some thought to this stuff instead of just rambling like a goddamn lunatic. I just gotta figure out why this close isn't working. Let's see. And I'm using my tablet now because in typical fashion my mouse died, so it's currently doing its thing. You should be thankful you can't see my cursor because especially jacked up on coffee, like I just start spazzing out. High promo bar. So again, another thing that works in theory, but it's not working. Only parents with this class. All elements with this class. Change target. Notification bar. Wow. Okay. So this is interactions also get weird. I'm happy to talk about this too. So do a little test. Nope. Why? Interactions can be frustrating. Is it still doing all elements with this class, notification bar large? Why? On the close. So the first tap, hide promo bar. I mean, it's doing the right stuff. It's just clearly not targeting the right element. What I might do for now, there's got to be something weird going on with the fact that it's a combo class. That's my only guess, is that it's just, ideally I can have like multiple versions of like notification bar, and it'll close all of them. Like that close button will always close all notifications. Gonna lose it. Why? It's not one thing, it's the other. Let's see. So this is frustrating. If anyone in here knows Webflow and can point out what the hell I'm doing wrong, it seems like it should work. I really don't understand why it's not. I know my class names and all that stuff are not the best. Maybe I can take some chat. Yeah. Oh, so going back to your question, James. I guess it's kind of early. My brain's not really working on the whole irreproachable aspect of it, whether it's like a clout thing. It's a combination. Like the people who sell themselves well and talk about their work well and have like, I see a lot of people who, like, you only have so much time in the day, and I feel like people choose a path to either like really focus on their work and let that be what's like their work does their talking. And that's kind of what I've always done. That's what I prefer to do. Me in any capacity, like getting in front of this camera, like talking about winning side of the day, or like sending out stuff about my work, like that's been a process for me to like feel comfortable doing. I just haven't. Again, another story for another day, but so that's one way, but I think that only gets you so far. I think just in the same, like if you commit all your energy towards like marketing yourself and developing a following, if your work's not that good, you're going to hit a ceiling. I think, let's see. Yeah, it only gets you so far. Like you're going to have people kind of catch on to the fact that like, maybe it's not that aspirational. And for me, there were some people like that for me. Like I, like being very junior, I looked up to a couple people, and actually I want to push this live. Even if you can't close it, too bad. It's fucking live streams here. Maybe the real site works. But there's a lot of people that like I just looked up to, and I just came to find that they spent most of their energy promoting themselves. And it was the allure of what they were doing and the work that they created that was more like, that's what I was gravitating towards more than anything. And oh, let's see. Sorry, I'm just there's the rain. I had to switch my audio. You weren't missing any system audio anyways. But yeah, like you kind of get to a point where, like for me, I felt like I outgrew some of those people, which was kind of a nice thing. But yeah, it's interesting. Like there's really only so much time in the day, and you kind of have to walk the line of both, would be my sort of advice. Depending on how senior you are as well. Like if you're kind of just getting started, my opinion is just like focus on the work. Like, and if you have to pick one, I would always say focus on the work. Like the work, like if you keep grinding out good work, like a following, attention, work, like clients, like that's all gonna come. Like there are mechanisms within all the algorithms to kind of like suppress unless you pay and all this other, like unless you game the system with all these comment pools and all this shit. But it's really a numbers game, and if you just kind of keep going and sticking to it and be focused on becoming better, like that's something that can keep growing. Like yes, you can get better at marketing yourself and selling yourself, but there's a glass ceiling on that for sure. And I don't know, it kind of depends on like what you want out of it at the end of the day. There's definitely some people who are clout chasers, and like more power to them. I think they've made a living doing that, but there's also a lot of other people who have they've made a living off of just like honing their craft, becoming masters. I think that's like the Ash Thorpes of the world, like the G Monks of the world, the Matt Wileys of the world. So it's, yeah, you can go either path, honestly. And for something like Awwwards, you'll have like that instant kind of step up if you have a following, but good work is good work, and I think a lot of people can see that. So that's my long-winded answer. Let's see. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, and feel free to ask follow-ups. Or if I just flat out didn't answer, just tell me to try again. that's acceptable. The fact that you solely are a single person behind the website, so side of the day completely belongs completely to you. Yeah, I'm proud of it. And I don't know, I think there's probably a lot of developers who look down upon my little website. Because it's not, I mean, it's honestly like I tried to have Ari help out with something, and he was just trying to dig through the code, and he's just like, I don't, like, it's a fucking mess. So it's like the purest developers, I think, kind of frown upon it, but for me and what I need, like, I don't know, I'm very happy with it. I think I want to make sure I'm still, this thing's still on. Yes, still moving. But yeah, I think for me, like doing the font, doing the development, doing the content, doing the design for it, doing the branding, this site is basically a case study for what I want to do. Like the website's supposed to be a platform to kind of represent who I am and what I want to do. But also like kind of not being at the forefront, the work is still kind of what's supposed to be the most important. Yeah, it's kind of wild to me still. Like, there's no one that's gonna be able to come after me for like embedding fonts like in the old days. I used to just change font names and just embed whatever the hell I wanted. Because there's a lot of people who search font names. Let's see, a 2020 portfolio is so overwhelming response. A 2020 portfolio has so overwhelming response. I really hope it gets this in 21. You know what? I hope so, man. But I think like in looking back, the 2020 site was it was a train wreck. I like from a usability perspective and like what I actually wanted people to do. I want to see if I can find it on the Wayback Machine. Like it was, I mean, it worked. It was different, which I think was kind of nice. Was it usable? Not really. like animating blurs, like. So a big thing for me and why the homepage is so visual is people would literally go like 2 clicks in and they still hadn't seen a fucking thing. Oh, it does work. Kind of. I don't know. Is this gonna... Oh, I have to do it this way. see, my Mac Pro can't even keep up with everything that's going on right now. Like all these blurs, like it has to like repaint everything. I'm stretching type. Like don't get me wrong, I think there's still some nice bits about this. Actually, I did add this section down below where you could see work. But like how like non-performant this is. And I don't know. I try to do little things towards the end, but I love how the feeling is. I don't remember making that preloader. Whoa, we're going way back. How did I get here? No way. How is this still here? Oh, it doesn't work. So this is like really old school. Nothing's gonna work though. This is crazy. So this is like, I worked with Jacob Fisher from Basic, my boy Dr. Jacoby, on this, and I have like the full design. That's something else I can go into, but I might kind of leverage some things and work on a photo experience based off of this, but I don't know how I got here. This is fucking crazy. I haven't seen this in forever. I thought it was gone. Wait, how do I... Oh, way back. Damn, this is crazy. Forgot all about that. Let's see. A lot of snapshots here. Not a lot. What's the difference between green and blue? And this thunder is way too loud in my ears. Sorry. Let's see what we got. Nope. What's that? I got tabs all over right now. Sorry, I just talk things out. Like, I'm by myself and I kind of forget there's people listening. And I thankfully have no idea how many people are actually here. Thank you for to everyone that is here again, by the way. This is sad. This is 2018. Is there any chance it's because I'm using a tablet? Nope. Yeah, this is slash photo. Sorry, this is kind of fascinating to me, as I still have a broken thing on my website taking over half the page. Let's give that a minute. At least I'm back on a mouse. This mouse is really warm. I need to figure out why this won't close. Sorry. I think there's a couple other questions I'm still not getting to, and I do apologize, but I've got a huge block on my website taking up the whole thing. Hide promo bar. You know what? Do it again. Hide promo 2. So sometimes there's just random artifacts. Like things just get weird sometimes in interactions, and you kind of have to just start over. I've noticed it, especially like if you duplicate classes or if you duplicate interactions, sometimes just things go sideways. I don't know what happens, why it happens, but it certainly does sometimes. Let's see. Negative 40 view height? No, it's plus 40. White, let's go 50. gone, and then we want to hide show, hide this stupid thing. So we want this with a little bit of a delay, 0.75 is what I'm doing typically. And then I usually do out quad, but if something's just moving off screen, I kind of do the in quad. Oh, but yeah, you want to have the hide show happen after. And of course, like, there's a lot more I'd love to do. I'd love to just like stagger everything, like have like the live stream sort of just turn off. Maybe it like flickers or something. The type goes away, and then it just maybe like the scale shifts, which I'm about to do if this doesn't behave. I'm gonna try something new. So it works there. Up. Not going down. It's not like I'm... Wait. Oh. The Wayback Machine's just all over the place. I don't know how it got back to this site. This is one of the old... This is the photo page. Yeah, but you can see like the genesis of like a lot of what's on the current site. Like this is really just an evolution of what happened here. Apparently I right-clicked. These line heights. Oh, I remember that being broken for a long time. Yeah, so like the 2021 site's not like totally brand new, but it's yeah, it's an evolution, I would say. So let's see. I don't want to set this as initial state. 0 duration. Could that be causing problems? Not. So it's not working on here. So sometimes there's like pointer events that get in the way. Doesn't seem to be the problem. Oh, text. It actually might be. Why is that not showing up? Okay. So that's why like I don't have the dev tools pulled up on the stream. So I'm not streaming desktop, but I don't know why, but this this C notification, so C container notification close is not showing up on like it's not registering. So there might be like a pointer events none going on somewhere. I don't really know. That's very strange. Nope, didn't fix it. Oh, no, I know why. That's really stupid. I'm special. Change target, notification bar, save. Need to get rid of this. And so we need to change our trigger. So the trigger will be the text itself and not the containing div. That's where, I don't know why that's the problem, but let's see if this fixes it. There you go. So troubleshooting stuff like that, like definitely use the like, let's see, what is this? Like, yeah, the Google DevTools or Safari, whatever you use, and just do inspect. And then I don't know what the tool is called. I guess it's select an element, where basically, like if you hover over different things, so you can So if you click on this, then it pulls up all the details on that in your DevTools. And you can kind of see what's going on, because on the live site, it has all of the like all the custom embed tool or embed code that you have ideally not in line. I have a lot in line. It's not the most performant. Or if you have it in like the head of the page or right below like the end of the body, that's where it's kind of all coming together. And sometimes, depending on how you do it, which sometimes I don't do it in the best way, it kind of gets a little weird. So let's see. Hopefully this works. It does. Boom. Problem solved. All right, Abdul, what was your process in making the portfolio design? Yeah, we can get into that. Yeah, process is probably... I don't think you want to sit here and watch me troubleshoot little animation bugs all day. Unless you do, then I can certainly do that, because I've got a long list of bugs. I'll probably come back to that at some point, but yeah, I'll talk process. All right, sorry, there's one last thing I want to do. Because supposedly you can autoplay. Autoplay equals 1, I think. Sorry, this is the last thing, I swear. Nope, 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 gotta publish it. I should get the sketch all fired up. There's multiple sketch documents. That's my app of choice. I don't really advocate for one or the other. It's kind of whatever works best for you. I've done Photoshop for years and years. And actually, in working with Ari, it's kind of illuminating the fact that Sketch isn't on PC anywhere. So if you need to collaborate with someone who's on PC, it's a problem. So I'm trying to figure out what the right way is to kind of get that working. Because doing things at scale in Photoshop with a lot of artboards, like the file sizes are huge, performance sucks. I've just come to hate Photoshop unless it's for anything like compositing or doing like art direction or any sort of concept art. Why is that autoplay? So I do want to autoplay live stream embed. So I'm just searching real fast. I think there's YouTube. Autoplay an embedded YouTube live stream. So Google is great for this. Just delete. So this is telling me in the embed just to delete this, but I don't know if I remember seeing that anywhere. And so much for me developing. Let me get rid of this because that's save. Should come back. So I always put this in like a text edit file, just in case. You can't always count on history within Webflow. So sometimes like just paste it in a text doc. You never know. Like that's a safe space. Like you know it works. So if you start doing anything like this, like kind of poking around and doing weird sort of I don't know, modifying embedded code in ways that you're not totally confident in, like this, then this is kind of a good just fallback. So it's saying, it says autoplay, allow autoplay. What this gyroscope stuff is, who needs that? This might not be the answer I'm looking for. No upvotes is always kind of a bad. Set video to autoplay. Copy the embed code. YouTube videos, you'll need to modify a small part of the YouTube code it gives you. Copy and paste this code into HTML block. Change the alphanumeric code between embed. But it doesn't do this anymore. This is old. Modify the code, include an autoplay function. You will need to code. This is Vimeo. I don't care about it. Yeah, autoplay equals 1. This is how it used to be. Unless I didn't put it properly. At and autoplay equals 1. Pretty sure that's what I did. Yes, that is what I did. They must have changed something. See, this is where I got the answer originally. Movie buttons. It's April 20th because Google decided to give greater control of playback to users. You need to add mute equals 1 to your URL. So it seems. Question mark. Give it a try. Don't believe this is gonna work, but what do I know? Not a good sign that there's no thumbnail. I will say that. No. You know what? It's fine. I'll get this on the next one. Oh, I know why, because I had an and a question mark. Oh, shit. Oh. This is weird. This is weird. I'm going to do you all a favor and mute my computer audio real fast. Spare you the infinite loop. But this is good. I mean, it does work. Where's the mute? And mute equals 1. An error occurred. Didn't like that. I don't know why it's bugging out though. Maybe it's just the dev site doesn't like it. I'm going all in. Fuck it, let's do it. Oh, Zach Mix. What's up, bro? Been a minute. Hope you're doing well, man. I'm just nerding out. Couple hours of sleep. See if we can get some shit to work. If this works, it'd be kind of cool, but if it bugs out like it was in the preview, I don't know if that's going to be good or not. Let's bring the ray back, I guess. So this isn't encouraging, but let's see what happens. And I pulled up some of the sketch files, so we'll get into the whoa. Fucking disco stream. Well, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Ship it. You know what? People think it's their computers. Fuck, one more thing. Sorry. Is it and? Save? Oh, it is question mark. Apparently this is a hardware acceleration problem. That seems strange. Wonder if this is... I'll check Safari. Sorry, I know this is taking a long time. I apologize. I haven't checked Safari in a long time, so I'm kind of scared. It does work on Safari. It is a Chrome problem. Yeah, no, Argent. I tried Safari, and a lot of people tell me Safari is like the greatest. Oh man, and Safari is like, okay. Apparently it works, but I also have a little bit of blur on some of this text to try and soften the edges, but it's just, I'm done. Like, I tried. Every browser calculates blur differently. So, publishing this, and then we're going process. Let me just get my... So, don't look at my website in Chrome, I guess, unless you want to have the disco stream. It's kind of fun, I don't know. All right, there's so many. Let me see if, so last time I couldn't get Sketch to play nice. It was kind of bugging out a little bit with Streamlabs. Let's see what happens. As I suspected. Sketch, settings. Sketch. Sketch is over the camera. There we go. All right. Process. I'm checking on Chrome right now. It looks fine. Sweet. I mean, I really don't know why mine's choosing to shit the proverbial bed, but it, like, reload after reload, it's doing the disco stream. Apparently, I want to check hardware acceleration. So if I turn it off, refresh. Weird. Wait, relaunch. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad. I'm really happy it's working for most people. I don't know what it is about my machine that's not liking it. I've done it in incognito mode and turned off hardware acceleration. What can you do? Yes, process. So I'll also pull up. I talked about this a little bit last time, but I think it'd be good to kind of dive in again. Because again, a lot more subscribers, so seriously, thank you everyone who's putting up with me and my nonsense and showing up and asking questions. Like, this is awesome. Like, I literally was talking to myself for a long time. So the fact that the numbers are growing, people are coming, asking questions, like, awesome. Let's see. Actually, let's go back to Chrome real fast. So this is kind of where it starts for me. I always use Pinterest as a starting point. It's just kind of in my way of kicking around ideas, and I think I've gotten to a point where I have enough pinned where its algorithm kind of knows me, and that's good and bad. And it, like, all the algorithms want to find out what you like, and if you do that long enough, like, it'll just pigeonhole you into, like, I don't know, I could see it giving me like stuff like this all day long. Like, this is honestly like pretty close to my style and like related. It's the same thing, but like you can see, you start clicking on this stuff and you just get kind of regurgitated back the same shit over and over again. There are some deviations, like if you scroll long enough, like you start getting some, like, I think it gets further and further away. So a lot of times, like, I don't know if anyone needs advice on how to use Pinterest, but for me, like, I'll just like hammer through the first scroll and just be like, I've seen it, I want something different. I want something that's more tangential, and maybe it's like, I don't know how their algorithm works, but like you start getting into like just different stuff. Granted, like you get into also like Excel spreadsheets, so Pinterest can kind of be a grind, but it's what I use. There was icebergs back in the day. That was my favorite. That got acquired by Pinterest. So I think actually one of their main product guys is, I think he's kind of high up in Pinterest. There's Save, but I don't really use it. That seems like it's really, maybe it's changed and I haven't spent a lot of time there, to be fair, but that seemed like it was really funneling things. Like it was already curated to start with, and then you're curating the curated. But I could be wrong. That's just how my perception was. And my whole thing, so I have a board for my website. So I'll do very specific purpose-based stuff. Some of my boards. So I have like site inspo. I have stuff for like collaborations. Like for stuff with Ari. Like it was kind of just big type. And that site's coming soon. We just finished a lot of the last details. Really excited about that one. Like, I tried to change details on them yesterday. Like a whole, actually not details, it's the whole interaction mode, but he laughed at me. So I have like these very specific ones, but like this is why, shameless plug to my no ISO kind of ideology that I have. Like this is where I go to just like, I don't know what I'm looking for, but some of the stuff will spark ideas. And start, like for me, if I'm starting an art direction, I start thinking about like top level themes that I want to incorporate throughout. And I think for me, with what I do, it's kind of clean and minimal is my personal style. So everything that kind of skews that way. Stuff that's slightly unconventional. I think I tweeted about it at some point, but like the last couple of years, I've been unwinding my brain from doing e-commerce for too long. It was like every decision was validated by like how it affects a company's bottom line. So like everything is scrutinized to the nth degree. It's all about having a purpose. And that, like, everything in design should have a purpose, if you ask me. If it's not, then it's art. Like, there's a lot of art on Dribbble. There's a lot of art out there in general. And it's great. Like, this is where like I'm getting back to more of like the art component of it. I went too far down design, the functional aspect of it, and I think I lost a lot of character in my design. Like, I think it's really boring compared to some of the people who have been living in more editorial realms for longer. It's like the Ben Mingos, the Marcus Brown, I don't know, all these guys that are like really doing kind of interesting things, more like the editorial freeform art type of stuff. Like, it may not be best practices, and that's okay. By the way, I got like the audit of my site, and it's just like 30%. It had like all these failing scores, so it's kind of funny to get side of the day and developer of the day, but then have like all these metrics come back as like, you failed this, you failed this. And it's like, yes, my type is small, absolutely, but it's not for everyone. I actually don't want people to read all that stuff, but that's a different story. Back to process. Yeah, so I'll always kind of come back to this board. I wish there was a way to just like shuffle it so I could just get to the bottom of it and bring some of that to the front, unless there is. There's not that I know of. Because there's a lot of stuff like way early on that I just kind of neglect because it's like it's an infinite scroll. There's not pagination. I can't just like skip to the end. This is the problem with infinite scroll, is like you lose your place. So I have to sit here and kind of like make my way through, and typically I'll make it about like 6 reloads of content, and then it's just like I'm kind of done. I'll start heading to Behance. I'll start heading to Dribble. I spent a lot of time curating on Instagram, just kind of because you get a lot of interesting artists on there, and that'll spark ideas. So yeah, so for me, minimal, kind of unconventional, and then cinematics the other one. I think with my photo background, getting into video, just kind of media in general, I think that kind of comes back to like the visual component being TV or video, and how do I incorporate characteristics of that. So that was kind of my starting block. See if I can get to, so if I go to sketch, so I started bringing some of the ones that really started resonating with me in. And I think, I mean, some of it might be kind of obvious, like where things came from. And a lot of this stuff, like I think it's being executed at a better, more refined level than what I'm doing right now. Like this kind of unconventional style is still relatively new for me. It's like there's good ways of doing it and bad ways of doing it, and the line is very thin. So it's something I'm figuring out still. So I hope to kind of evolve. But so I collect all my stuff here, and from here it's kind of hard because I already had the building blocks of my old site, the 2020 site. So if I go back to Webflow, all of these collections of like originals, a lot of this content was already here. So the structure of what I wanted to do was there, or like the content was there. So I just kind of had to like build the rest around it. And thinking about content strategy is probably, for me, was one of the most important things, and one of the best like learnings from the previous site. Like how do I want people to think about me, like what I do? And I had always said art director and photographer, but the problem is, like, if you go to my Instagram, like, yes, you get the photographer component, and if you came to my old site, you saw the art director component, but you weren't seeing a lot of the other stuff. I was kind of selling myself short in a lot of ways. So all these like products, original creations, and really distilling it down to like what I want to do is I want to collaborate with people, and I want to just kind of make my own products that I want people to know about, to use, enjoy. Like a lot of it's free, like the screensaver, the TV app. Photos is kind of like the weird one. How that falls under originals, not ideal. But this is kind of the top level structure I then kind of mentally signed off on. Like I want this to be flat. So if people are looking at me to work with me, collaborations is where they're going to go. Originals don't matter. I want them to be able to come here and walk away with an idea of like what I do. And for me, I wanted to make this simple, scannable. I do want to work on another version of this where I go into a much more visual approach, because this lightbox is just like, it's really killing me inside. That's one of the things, like, it's on my like I guess fast follows is what people call it. But I had a tab system at one point where it was just like this huge long thing, but that's another tangent. Yeah, so like mentally figuring out the top level content strategy, and then if I go back into Sketch, it's like, how do you start synthesizing this? So I'll start with like low hanging fruit. Like if I just wanted, so for me, I had a takeover for the Evanetta project I did with Ash, and that was like, it was great for that project, but I left it up way too long. Like people weren't able to find me as I'm kind of trying to look to grow my network. It was like, he just makes car posters. Like I actually applied for a couple things and I never heard back from them. And it's probably because they were like, I don't know what the fuck this guy does. So that's always an important lens to look at. So I started looking at like how I do heroes and stuff like that. So I just would do some iterations on little components, and my goal was to have something up quickly. Like I just want like a landing page. That's not the posters. I want to have people have access to the posters, but I don't want the posters to be me. Like people can understand a site that's down and coming soon. They don't as much understand like this looks like a finished site and he just sells posters. So that was kind of priority one, and then thinking about the utility of it, where like if I'm selling, or if I'm not really selling product. Wallpapers is the one product I'm really selling, but it's thinking about the balance of how people take things in. Like the homepage for me is like, there's the explore button, and that's like purely explorational. It's meant to be an expression of me and my brand. That's where I can go nuts, and that's where I have more of the expressive typography, the kind of organic layouts, the different scrolling interactions. It's not like, it can get much crazier than that. I just don't have the ability to do it with my development skills. Like there's all sorts of like complex interactions that I'd love to do, but I just can't. I have to be realistic about where my abilities are. And also, I don't know, it's kind of interesting to think about like what good a lot of these complex things are doing. Like at the end of the day, from my site, that's like a quote unquote studio that's pushing services and pushing products. Like what's my return on my time of doing some crazy fucking interaction? Like there's part of me that like I want to be able to speak to creative directors passively through things I'm doing, where it's like, okay, this is unique, this is interesting, this is like, that's like, I don't need to see his work. Like that reinforces his abilities or lack thereof. It's a gamble when you start pushing it, but that's kind of what you need to do. And at the same time, like I didn't do a ton of that. I did a little bit of it with some of the interactions, but like I just can't do it. And I think the response has been overwhelming. So then I don't know. As you design, like it always feels like everyone's gonna latch onto every detail. Because I look at my site currently and I think there's so much wrong with it. There's so much that looks like unpolished. And people have told me like how polished it feels. Like the experience feels great. And I'm just like cringing thinking of like everything that's fucking wrong. So yeah, I guess that little tangent is like, don't obsess over the details. Like do, but like, you know, there's a point of diminishing returns where it's like people aren't going to notice like the extra 10% that takes 90% of the time. Cal, yeah, this is not Figma, man. I got lost and ended up in Sketch somehow. I need to switch to Figma. I just don't want to pay the subscription for it, if I'm being honest. And I know you can use it for free, but I don't know. I have libraries that I build, so that's another thing. let's see. Where are my fucking libraries? How do I access my libraries? Where the fuck? Automate library. Place library. Wait a minute. Master. Barcode? Edit in library. That's what I wanted. I wasn't really adding a barcode there. So also, to kind of tie into the branding component of it, like having a source of truth and like where everything points back to. I've gotten really lazy about it. I've just having to move too fast. But like, I created all sorts of type specs, and this is all changed. Like line height, letter spacing, sizes. Like ideally, I can stick to this and have like a system that's just like, that's the beauty of Sketch, is like being able to do like all these, I don't know, like very systemized things and not have to change it. But the problem is like if you change one thing, it changes it everywhere. There's certain components about like how you align text, where if you refresh, if you update the styles and you have like, let's say like this is aligned to the middle, but your baseline style is aligned to the top, it's gonna set everything to the top, and you have to go back and fucking realign everything. Really annoying, and I just got to the point where I didn't want to do it. But that aside, like I think it's important to have like a library of components that you build upon, and slowly, like as you, man, I have a different library. Let's see. My Instagram library is what I've been building out the most. Oh, I have like document libraries. Is this still, what's this showing on stream? Fuck over here. Boy, it's not showing the right one. Work? Of course not. I'll do a desktop. I'll clean up my desktop real quick. Don't judge me. Oh, desktop stream. Ugh. Yeah, so I created like an Instagram library. I went a little overboard. This isn't even the only one. There's one that's way crazier with all the ideations. But creating all these like sort of brand components that I can then start leveraging. But then as you're doing this stuff, it helps establish the brand. Or like kind of fuck, words are really hard right now. It helps just kind of help like guide it. Like you start realizing, for me, like I have a general direction I want to go, but how it manifests, like that always is fucking changing. I'm very iterative, so that's why when I do designs, like I'll just like, that's the beauty of Sketch for me, is like I'll just create a duplicate and I'll just do that. I'll try something new, or like off of a mistake, try something new, or keep exploring it. And I just kind of chase those things, for better or worse. Yeah, actually, I don't know if this was showing on stream. I think it was probably still showing the old document, but this is what I was talking about with all the type specs. Brand elements, brand colors, documents, inspiration, symbols, all this shit. But I don't know if that really was like your question, whether it was more about like the site and like, let's go back, Chrome browsing, whether that was more about how I structured it. Let me get caught up here real quick. Dig the production quality. Thanks, man. Yeah, honestly, I'm still learning Streamlabs. I need to do like, yeah, I'm redoing like this fucking song. It's not a song, it's just a drum loop that's just like kind of egregious, but yeah, with Kenny Beats 808s and Kenny Beats style 808s and shit. But the other one's more like Lorne kind of stuff. That's more my wheelhouse these days. Why not? I'm gonna turn a lot of stuff off. And don't judge me. Wait, no, you can't see it. Fuck. Desktop stream. Wait, no. Let's go back to Chrome browsing. I have live. I don't have it. So what's annoying about Streamlabs is when you you set a window for it to broadcast, it doesn't save it. So if I reopen it back up, I have to reset every window. And I don't, there's gotta be a better way of doing it. I don't know. But I don't know how. So is this is showing, do I have computer audio? I do. So I just took a sample. I'll just solo this. I have no idea how loud this is gonna be. Check the levels on this, but it's more like this ambient sort of like grungy type thing. But the problem is it's like a very kind of weird chord progression. I'll unsolo it. The drums and stuff like are not it. And it's all like samples and stuff like that, but like I don't know. This is what I worked on at like from 12 to 1 when I should have been working on other stuff. But like some of the processing on this, like echoes, chorus, cassette. But you're gonna hear like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm just kind of doing whatever now. But yeah. So that's where like I want to go, but I'm not right now. So, random tangent. Where were we? Oh, production value. Yeah. Oh wait, not hearing anything. Oh shit. Let's try that again. So problem is like there's all these weird like audio configurations. I think I know how to get it to work. Output device. This ought to do it. Yeah, why not? Let me play. See, there's that cassette. Yeah, there's like so I'm being really lazy about it. I'm taking a lot of like just straight samples like this, but then processing it a lot, and then layering it with different adding like chorus, drum, bass. So if I turn all this stuff off, it's literally just like a violin thing that I just like got angry about. But the problem I'm hearing now is like this cassette. It does these like weird skips that just sound so artificial, and I thought it was erasures, but it's not. I thought it might have been artifacts. Yeah. Yeah, music production. Why not? Yeah, kind of dark, different vibe. The drums, like, they're all like kind of quantized right now, so it's a little flat. I kind of want to like start moving some stuff a little bit. I haven't panned them properly. They're all kind of sitting center right now. and I don't know the right way of doing this. I just kind of like fill it out and mess with balances. But yeah. So that's coming. So production in general with this, like I really need to find time to, nope, not that. Need to find time to like refine everything, like the pre-roll. I mean, I can play this now. So right now, it's going through, it's like a starting sequence of, like, because basically I need to get my shit together for a minute. So that's why right now I play like the starting soon thing. But this is kind of just like a canned video sequence that gives me just a little bit of time. It'll probably catch me super off guard, but I want something kind of like subtle, probably with paired with audio, and then yeah, it's just kind of like a start sequence, and then yeah. So there's a lot of shit like that. It's kind of fun to explore. Like I haven't done a lot of changing all other things. Doing video and shit like that. It's a lot of fun. It's new. I have to get back into After Effects. There's all these like little details and stuff I want to add. It's just between getting my site launched, getting all of the things I wanted to fix with it done, working on Ari's site, getting that done, and then yeah, working on the next project. Next project's not as much of a stress, so I'm hoping to kind of dive back in, get like the audio right, the pre-roll and the bumpers or something I need to get done for making short videos. I just talked about it. I think almost every stream of like I want to create more pointed videos so people don't have to sift through hours of me just kind of rambling. Let me see if I can get caught up here too. I again, like, I just easily make hard turns onto stuff, and like I didn't expect to be opening live or playing that or talking about that or showing the start idea I have. So I apologize, and like if it just gets bad, just like say something in the chat, like knock it shit off. Like I don't care. I don't have an ego about this shit. You can tell me whatever. Starting my design career with a UX degree, I kind of want to move into the visual side of things and get into art direction and more expressive creation. So it's great to see your process. It seems like so many graphic designers want to get into UX design, but I'm the opposite. I want to get away from UX and more into graphic art, motion, etc. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the right way to go. If you're asking me, you're not really asking. For me, I feel like UX was a very specialized realm within design. Like when web was kind of coming out, designers weren't used to thinking about interactions. They just didn't. They didn't think about like the overall page structure. It's kind of like everyone was wrapping their heads around these things. Like designers typically just did like the visual component. They did fonts, type, branding, layout, that sort of stuff, but nothing ever had to like function between different things. And that's where like UX designers, I think, thrived, is because they were the ones who just like, that was their focus. And they, I think, helped normalize a lot of like the web as we know it, and like all the designs, interaction models and stuff like that, that came from UX designers primarily. At this point though, with the web where it is, I feel like if you want to get into interactive at all, I feel like UX design is going to be a dying breed. I'm sure there's a lot of people who aren't happy I'm saying that. I don't think anyone really gives a fuck what I say, to be honest, but I just like UX design is kind of, it's dated. Like if I'm running a shop right now, and I'm looking for a designer, I'm not looking for a designer who can't do UX, because I don't know what they're like. To me, that's where it's like art. Like, I don't want to hire an artist. There's plenty of artists out there. I want someone who's going to think strategically, and like, you're designing an experience, and that comes with the design of it, that comes with the structure of it, that comes with ideally people can get into the motion, because motions become more of a common thing. So like, thinking like at base level, they can design a website and how like you navigate it, what the structure is, and how maybe there's more complex things that really require some drilling into. But if you understand interactions, it should be pretty easy. And easy is a relative term for sure, but with practice, like, if you understand the UX basics, I think like making that shift to visual is good, because I think that's where like a lot of value is derived now. At the same time, visual design's commoditized with all sorts of services and AI and Squarespace, and I still think the space is pretty flooded. But yeah, I mean, there's always always room for more, and like, I would just say, like, keep pushing. I think you're heading down a great path, man. Wait, I'm shit posting and you're being deep and real, bro. I never real. If I like get off like waxing poetic about things, like I'm like a half a second away from cracking a dad joke or something. I don't take me seriously, so you shouldn't either. Let's see, getting caught up again. Oh, thanks, Ken. Stoked you like it, man. Yeah, it's a start. It's like, I'm sure you could, if you know Lauren, his music, you probably hear a lot of what I'm doing in it. A lot of like the ambience. I need to get into all the automation and start like really pushing things. That's something I started, last night. So I don't expect it to be great, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I played it, but what are you gonna do? Again, like, I don't have my. Maybe I should pull it up so I don't have this excuse anymore. But like, I don't know how many people are actually here right now, but hopefully a couple. Surprised you don't own a Stream Deck? I do own a Stream Deck. So I have I'm actually working on. That's one of the originals I'm working on. Where the fuck is it? Stream Deck. So building out a lot of custom macros, a whole icon system. Right now I have. I wonder if I can pull that up. Go back into not Figma. Ah, fuck, I had to desktop stream again. Oh, part of the reason why you probably don't think I have Figma is because I'm not really using it. I keep on navigating back to Streamlabs, but the problem is I have all these profiles that override it. So if you go into like Sketch, it populates with all the sketch or all the sketch actions. Whereas instead of like keeping it fixed on the Stream Deck, which it should when I'm streaming. So right now it is. Let's see if I go back. Yeah, it's just. I feel like there's a way to do it. Streaming. I wonder if I just leave it here, it'll stay. It will. Okay. So now I can use my Stream Deck properly. It's not going to change. I basically had to open up the configuration tool. But the problem is like I don't have it fully figured out. So let me do. I think I have to do desktop streaming. Hide this. So using Stream Deck does work. Cool. So yeah, this is something I've been working on. And it's been a lot of fun. Like, I spent a good while doing this. And I've been testing it. I think the Capture One system was really nice. I think a lot of these, like flagging, going to the next images, making a pick of the variant, creating variants, adding different like gradient masks, clone tools, opening different windows, exposure warnings. Excuse me. So this is basically, I have the XL, so this is what I'm mapping it to. And yeah, so it's still in testing right now. And let's see what's going on with my phone. Sorry, it keeps bugging out on me. I'm still trying to figure out what these macros are. So if I go back to this guy, so really what it comes down to is like how these all work and what's the most useful, because I do have folders, like, so it's not just the functions, it's how it's organized, whether I use folders. Some of the ones that I love the most, like this round to pixel, kind of an obscure thing, but fuck, is it ever useful? Because so many things, like if you use the align tools, which are also right here, it puts things on a subpixel sometimes. Not like the distribute one asks you if you want to be on a subpixel, but align will often just put it on a subpixel, and then you get all these fuzzy edges and things don't line up. You move it and it always snaps to like a subpixel, which drives me fucking crazy. Convert text to outline, and all it is really just hotkeys. Some of them get more complex. You can have multiple actions. So if I go into like I haven't done the icons for it yet. So right now I have 11 actions tied to this. So what this does is it will, well, I'll just run it. I'll show you. Create a new document. So if I press, where is it? So you can see, you can have everything up at once. Go back. So this is like, for me, this is grid layout. And then I have a button for layout settings. So if I push that in here, it brings up my layout settings, which is always kind of a nice thing to have it ready. Like right now it's just 2 buttons away. And I know there's a hotkey for it, but I just don't remember it. So I push the back button. So now it's going to reflect whatever I'm doing over here. So if I push into the grid options, let me close this. Actually, go a step back. So this is artboard. And so I have like a Webgl, so I have web large. And so I have it, a whole thing that'll create a new artboard. It'll put the proper grid structure that I like, and then it'll open up a renaming function. And so it's going to be large underscore project name. And so that's done, which to me is kind of nice. But at the same time, if I want to go back and modify it, I can just go back here, use my key for layout settings, go back. Or sometimes if I don't, so if I create an artboard just randomly, and let's say I want to put the proper grid to that, I click into my grid settings, push Web 1440. So then the naming thing is not quite right, so that's where some of these little details I need to iron out, but shit like this, like, it's super helpful to me. Or it's like the creating a grid. So I just push this tool here, 4, 20, and then like I have my grid. Create masks. So what's nice about this, so let's say, I know this is totally off topic, but I kind of warned going in that I was going to be probably going off the deep end. after a little bit. And I do want to get back to Webflow. So if you have any more questions about that or anything else, like this is how random these streams are supposed to be, in my eyes at least. So let's see. So if I have, so normally like if you, let's do this one. Fuck. So I want to mask this image to this. So if I create a mask out of this, it does everything, which to me is kind of annoying. And if this works the way I remember it working, I push mask, it did a multi-action. So what it did is it did the hotkey for mask. It then grouped those two items together by, this is literally just like key commands firing in sequence. It grouped them. It then Apple R, as I think it's always Apple R, renamed, and then called it mask thing. So then that way I don't have to like then create the group. It's just like, this is a mask thing. If I really want, I don't push enter. So if I change this and I remove the text here, no, so that's how you can submit things, but just as easily, like if I delete this and then I do it, let's turn this mask off, put these up here, something's still masked. Oh, the image is a mask, that's fun. I hope that's not making the image a mask, but it might be. So that's like these little quirks to it. So now if I run the same mask tool, it should give me the option to name it. Oh, if I open it. Oh. Mask. Masked. Mate. Why isn't it masking? Because that's a mask. That's why. Somehow I did a key command to make the image a mask, and that's why it got weird. So if I make that a mask, it ignores the mask underneath. But little things like that I think just really help with workflow. And that's like, when I first got the Stream Deck, I was just obsessed with what I could do with it. And then I just started like going nuts with it. And some of these, like, I don't know. I had an edible or two and I started doing ones like erosion, and I really had fun. So, and I think these could be, like, you can do animated GIFs. So if you press it, it turns into an animated GIF. And I was talking to a buddy about possibly doing an animation for him. Or I think initially I want to release like a 1.0 that's static, and then eventually get into like a 2.0 that's all animated. Animations are totally unnecessary. It's like the main value is in the macros. Like I want to make sure the macros are right. So probably like a 1.0, get feedback, go through like 1.1, 1.2, 1. Whatever, find out what's working. And the beauty of this is like when I put these packs out, like they're editable. So you can go in here and you'll be able to change, like, I don't like the way that mask works. I want to have it create the name it always does. So if I go, let's see. It's been a minute since I used this. I actually haven't seen what they updated. MIDI button. Ooh. It's kind of cool. Oh, that's been there. Never mind. Hotkey. So you just add a hotkey in here. So you have it rename, and then let's say I'll go back to masked object. Or no, it's not a hotkey. Excuse me. It's text. Because rename will trigger the rename of whatever it is. And the text is masked object. Nope. That's where it is. That's the text. This is like if you want to name it. So if you want to give like default names, it'll show up on the screen. So if you don't, this is for people who don't want to design icons for everything. You can just give it a simple name for it. But to me, like I want something that's more visual. Press enter after. So now it's back to how it was. So if I like create a pack and it's not quite to people's liking, they can always just modify it. But yeah, Stream Deck, kind of fun. And I have no idea when this is going to come out. I worked on this all day, every day for like 2 days, and then I stopped. But I need to get back into it because there's so much value in it. So you can see like how my Stream Deck configured, like just different scenes. You can like turn the mic on and off. One of the big problems with the Stream Deck is it doesn't have a two-way communication with most things. So if you toggle something on, like it doesn't give you the feedback. You can have it change states. So let's say I mark something red, and then if I have like an active state where the whole thing's red, like the app won't tell the Stream Deck if it's active or not. That's a bad example. It's like if what's a better one? Different states. So if I do like capture one exposure warning, like if let's say by default I start the app up, I press it on, that turns it on. But at any point, if I do a hotkey to turn it on or off, it's not reflected here. So I can have the active state. I think all these have the active state in. Yeah. So if I press it once to turn it on, it'll show active, but if I turn it off by keyboard, it'll stay active. So it can be kind of misleading of like what's active and what's not. So I don't know, that's some of the annoying details of it. Chrome browser. Probably people yelling at me to knock it off with this shit. Matt Austin. Saw those Stream Deck icons there, bud. Speak of the devil. And thank you, sir. Side of the day. You know, it's something. I don't know. Should trigger a recount or two. Get the commission on it. It's the real big lie. Don't listen to what the news is telling you. I don't even mean to make my stream political, but what are you gonna do? Fuck. Matt, in case you missed it, I'm on 4 hours of sleep, so I'm in a real interesting place right now. More rambling than usual. Yeah, fucking lulz. Big time, man. Yeah, let's see. There's some things I wanted to work on with this. I'm actually gonna take a quick second. Grab some more coffee, I think. Coffee. I need to set this back to streaming. Yeah, I'll be back in 1 minute, give or take. Yeah, turn this mic off. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm desktop streaming. That's good. Let's see. Anything else I missed? Yeah, so you're clicking Streamlabs. Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. Like the idea of the stream deck is great, to go back to that. But like the action of like reaching kind of far, really lazy. So I found myself using it, but it's at the same time, like I have one of these tablets, which is now wired because it's supposed to be Bluetooth, but Apple can't handle Bluetooth these days. If I turn my headset on, my tablet disconnects. It's fun. So yeah, what was I saying? The fucking buttons on the side, like the first thing I do is I disable them. I never use them. So getting used to the idea of a stream deck is kind of weird, but if the value's there and there's enough of like, I think with stuff like DaVinci Resolve, there's so many things I just don't know off the top of my head, and a lot of value in like it switches. So I have it synced so it'll switch tabs of DaVinci, and it'll also change the tools with it. So whatever tab you're in, as long as you use the tabs, as long as you activate the tab from the Stream Deck, it'll always sync the shortcuts with whatever you're viewing. So that way you can surface more things, and yeah, you can just be like more focused with it. You don't have to like dig through folders all the time. So that's where I like restructured the whole Stream Deck thing entirely. But that's something else. Let's talk internet. Or anyone else, like, again, if I didn't answer any questions, feel free to ask for more clarification. I realize I'm not always the greatest with answering things. Oh. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just checking something real fast. Going into Studio. Okay. Just making sure I'm not dropping frames. Looks like it's been doing all right. Stream health, healthy. Okay. Were there any features on your site you didn't end up doing or you weren't able to do? I don't know if you were, Mike, if you're here for the last stream. There's one with the scrolling effects, which I still don't like on my site. I don't like the fade in. I put in my repo, what I've come to call it. So, oh shit, we got horizontal scroll. But this idea of like this paper roll, I think this is one of the bigger things of like just a purely visual thing. There's a collection limitation that's getting in the way because I have to duplicate all the content. Kind of boring. Subject. I'm happy to talk about that, but that's kind of, I don't know. This is like the power of Webflow. Like if you can think of it, there's kind of a way to do it. Whether or not it's really a great idea is a different thing. But let me check my handy checklist. I'm just looking at home and section heroes. I mean, there's things that like I think I can do. Disco stream. Fuck. Let's go ahead and turn. Nope. Well, at least let's do off. Okay. Just remember if I publish that's going to stay off. There's a lot of little things. There's like adding context to these carousels. So right now, it doesn't really speak to what, like, it's kind of a passive support of this, but I think it'd be nice to have more utility, where it's speaking to like everything that I do. And I explored some ideas for design with it. It's something I want to do, and it's something I can systemize across like the home page, the collaboration page. So it's not just like a useless visual. It's kind of like, this is like, if you don't get any further, ideally you're getting some clue of what I do, like with my collaborations and how it's across um, different mediums. It's digital, it's editorial, it's like these art boards. Um, so yeah, I can like call out different things and then have like links down to it as well. What else is there? The preloader I wish was better. Don't have any Easter eggs at the moment. This is all stuff that's just like front of mind. There's a lot of like more complex functionality that I wish I could bring out. Like, I wish there was a way to like, basically, like, if you hover over any of these, there's like a supporting featured image that shows up right here. But having that like CMS powered is tricky. It's doable. It's just one of those things with Webflow, like you have to create all these conditional visibility rules. And it's just a pain in the ass. Like, for what it's worth, like, I think it's not the end of the world for people to click through some of these without any context. Like, it gives you a little bit of context of what it is, but would a visual be nice attached to it? Yeah. Or have something like tied to the cursor. Custom cursor is another thing I've thought about. I did it before and it wasn't great. There were some instances where if you had like an iPad Pro or any like a larger iPad in landscape, it would meet the minimum requirement for a desktop. So it doesn't. This is a beef I have with Webflow, is that it doesn't really do device sniffing, and I don't know if that's frowned upon these days or what. But if it could, I know you can detect whether something is like a touch device or not. I think I have my hover states deactivated if a touch device is detected. And that's all like copy and pasted code. That's not something I know how to do from scratch. And I think it's working. Every once in a while, I see hover states show up on mobile through like a touch interaction, which is strange. But that means it's not working, actually. See, I just need to talk these things out. Yeah, more meaningful hover interaction or custom cursor. But I want to do one that has like meaning, and something that maybe just like, I don't know, makes actions a little more clear. Like the fact this should not be a button. Interesting. So these, I guess I can go originals. So if you know Webflow and how collections work, it's all based off of one item. And so within this item, I can have different content. So I have the slider, is kind of the main thing, but how I populate it. This is where you can kind of get interesting with it. You can have, so right now, it's all, so right now, it's connected to the CMS collection, um, which is right here. This is, what was I looking at? Wallpapers? No, it was like screensaver or something. So it's lifting all this data, and as long as like these are set, so it's pulling, so like featured image 1. This slider will not be visible. It'll set to display none if that image isn't set. And that goes for all of these. just in the same of like, if I want to put different media types in, like let's say I have a video I want to put in, which I don't think I have any videos. I'd like to do a video for the live stream. That's something I want to work on. Everything else is kind of okay as is. I mean, this is animated GIF. This is probably really big. I think Mike, you were the one who told me about changing this from a GIF to a video, and there's a lot of savings to be had in terms of like load time, that sort of performance, which I do need to get around to. A lot of the performance stuff is not like, don't look to me as like the gold standard for performance because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I like a tenuous grasp of development, I would say. But yeah, I think expanding this out to more media type, I think would be nice. This collab section, I think making this more visual and creating an alternate view. That's something I was thinking about starting today. I had it a while back where it was basically like this tab of like grid view and list view. So you just sidestep this whole really obnoxious light box that I just can't. Why did it do that? That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, this great light box. If I lean on a lot of the functionality with this, and like just have this really long page, but just be comfortable that like, okay, use this. It's not as great on mobile. Like mobile, it's kind of there's no context. It's just you can jump between sections, but you don't really know what it is. There's little details like that are kind of chopped. Try to clone other projects with WebGL and crazy actions. Hell of a time to get things to work together. Yeah, that's honestly like I've been really curious about kind of where Webflow fits within the broader scheme of things, um, whether it's capable enough to do a lot of like the base level type of things, like whether you can, like let's say work with a developer, like if I could work with like an Ari and I do all of like the base level stuff, but he comes in with like the custom WebGL stuff. Like how well does that play together? And it doesn't seem like that well, because it seems like you just get into using like the embed module, and that is kind of its own self-contained thing. It seems like it might be kind of tricky, and it might not be really worth it. Like it seems like it might be more work to integrate the WebGL with Webflow than it is to just do it all together, like hand code it. For me, like I think this module is some of like the most hand coding I did for structure, and none of this, like all the style, is done through the visual editor. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like when I first started, it was always a thought of like, damn, there could be so much potential if there's this like a seamless integration of like really um, pushing the limits of like WebGL. But then they added Lottie support, which I have no fucking idea how to do. I know you can import it. I don't know anything about the process. I think I want to learn it. I don't know if it's more efficient to do Lottie animations or to do just like interactions through here. I bet you can do more complex Lottie animations, which is nice, but I don't know if I really need it. I just want fucking blurs to work, which is WebGL. So that's why Ari and I might do a photo site. Where he gave me the green light on blurring, which is kind of nice. Yeah, maybe I'll work on this alt view. So the thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and go to settings. I'm gonna duplicate this. I call this collabs list. And there's all these weird hacks too with like menu spacing offset. So when I anchor links, so that HTML embed is sitting at the very top of that. So when I link to the div ID, that's it's positioned at the top. And so that's so when you click it, like that padding through the different breakpoints always matches the height of the navigation. So right now it's like 11 view height, tablet 90 pixels, landscape 80, 60. And then it's kind of funny, like I've developed a system based off the navigation for spacing, depending on the viewport. So a lot of like vertical spacing is based off of the proportions of the navigation. So a lot of times, whether I need it or not, I'll use vertical padding of 11 view height on desktop. Let's see if I can, I'm gonna eat my words on this. And where I do padding is not good right now. I don't know where the fuck the padding is coming from. I don't know. Who knows? Padding? Never heard of it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see. How could we do a grid view? So I don't want to touch any of this stuff. So this will always be how this anchor link, or where it links to. I don't want to mess with that. Actually, I need to see something. I want to make sure that it's staying active. Oh, let's see. It is. Okay. Switching properly. I was just checking the left anchor nav to see if it was. I wasn't sure because how it calculates the active section, like whether because that embed setting the ID was only the top, so whether that was being applied to the whole thing. So maybe there was only like a moment where it was active, but it's working properly. I don't know if I'm gonna need these guys. I feel like I will, but I want it in a different configuration. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of these. But right now we're using an 8-column grid within this. Kind of trying to get it close to the 12-column across the board, but yeah, I don't know if that's really coming through or not. So I need to think about, so always like starting this stuff out, use grid. Any sort of layout, just use grid. I'm telling you, it will save you a ton of headache. I'm gonna have to reset all of these. I'm gonna stop using the tablet, sorry. I could have been used to manual. So what's nice is like you can just change the order by specifying the column it starts, stops, and the row it starts and stops. So you can just have things span different columns and rows depending on viewport. It's kind of nice. But I need to start over. Position. All right. So I really shouldn't be using a combo class here. Really shouldn't be. This is where things get tricky. So I'm going to go off this. So I have a base. So whenever I create like an 8-column layout, I just have something I pull up called G-8 column. Because that will set like the same view width, gutters, and I don't know. It just makes it really consistent to have that as a starting point. And I don't know if this one changes through the different viewports, but if it does, if I ever make any updates, it'll inherit that. It'll inherit it as a combo class, but it'll at least start with it with whatever is the latest. So chances are I tried to get kind of settled in with like the one view width gutters as being something that I want to do. So now if I just create a duplicate class, I'll do grid. And so I don't even know if I really need the grid because it's going to be more like a list view. Grid, collab, index, list. I don't know if list is really the right word, but it's kind of just, I want them just like stacked at this point. So right now I want this to span 8 columns. 100% overview hidden. Why is it so narrow? Is there a set height on this? Nope. So you can see, like, as I'm updating things, it's being applied to every single one. So that first image is now the largest. Why is this so? I have a max height set on this. That's why. Go ahead and get rid of that. See image. So I have a default container for images. Oh, so the problem I'm running into right now is like everything's set as a background image, meaning it has no height. Right now, if I specify 100% height on a div with a background image, it just does nothing. So I need to manually create a duplicate, see image, collab list. Nothing scientific here, but yeah. So what that kind of sucks is with, I don't think I can do max height, 40 view height. No, it doesn't work. You need a height. Kind of frustrating that 100% doesn't work. Let's do 50 view height. Pretty good size. I'm struggling. And so this already feels better, like I'm able to kind of display some of these things in a meaningful way. Duplicate, C index, image list. I don't think I want this one yet. So already kind of breaking it out of the grid. Get rid of this padding on it. These guys. That's still got. I might get rid of all of these indexes. Nope, too far. So then if I have my introduction, say I wanted to span 50% of it, I just drag it to there. So just do this. Theoretically, should just start working. And then I span 8 columns. This into this. That works. Let's see, this will be 5.5 view height. So this is again based off of the system of 11. View height for the top navigation. So again, like how you do, like how you calculate spacing is, it's a kind of arduous thing. Yeah, it's frustrating. Because you'll find like you kind of just have to start settling for things, and it's unfortunate. Like some of the big type, like at the top of these pages, like the way it scales is not always the greatest. I think this is based off of, nope, too far. So once it gets to a max, so once it gets to, can't see it. Shit. So once this gets to like over 1440, this text then is controlled by like the height of the window. Because if I just stretch things out like this, it's, the bigger problem is it being too big. Like it'll just get massive. Or I'd rather have it a little bit more contained. So it's like to me, every option of it being really big is more manageable than if I continue to do view width. If I go down below 1440, it's 1440. Is it really that small? Oh, it doesn't refresh on large to extra large. But you see it's all based upon width now. So like where you make those shifts and where you start doing like pixel-based values, I don't have the greatest, oh, I moved it. Sorry. I don't have the greatest system on like what and when you should do it. I've noticed like going towards pixel values on mobile, that's kind of been, I don't know, I think it's worked out better because there's less variability in width. Like with desktop, there's so much variability in width, like you don't know like what someone's going to view it on. Like that goes for height and width. Like definitely have to stress test things. Like I have this, what's it called? So it's like what, it's like a resize plugin. I can't remember what it's called. Window resizer. Great name. So I have different things like for streaming. Ideally, this is what I would keep it at initially because that's how it fit best on my screen. Let's transform center vertical. Yeah. I don't know. It used to work. But yeah, just like I used to have it in there, but being able to test, like you'll be amazed at how narrow some people's browsers can get. Like they have tabs open, they have bookmark bars, they have a 13-inch MacBook Air with the dock always showing. Like it's crazy. There's like 500 pixels of viewable window space, and this is already right now. This is more than that. It has to be. Yeah, this is 700. Like I tested it on a friend's computer, and I was like, this is crazy. And there's different things I can do in terms of like hiding different things. At one point, I had these all like the padding based on vertical height, but it just became like too variable. So I'd rather like, you know what? It's gonna break at a point. I can't count for everything. I'm sure there's a lot of developers who really want to and have a way of doing it, and that's great. But for me, I really can't do it. Like getting it out for like best case scenario was already a lot. So it's something I want to work towards. And like as you keep exploring, or I keep exploring and keep testing things out, I kind of learn what's working, what's not working, where like something doesn't scale properly. Yeah, it's always learning process. So, and again, if anyone's still here, if you have any more questions, definitely feel free to ask. I realize I'm kind of rambling now. I'm trying to keep it site focused, but I want it to be useful still. So again, I had the studio thing up, but I think I closed it. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. I don't know. There's people here. But I realized like I probably exhausted a lot of people's attention with all my rambling after a couple hours, so I'm not too worried or surprised. I can only stand myself for a little while too. I'm just gonna keep working on this. So I'm gonna do manual 2, 8. So there's a little indent here, and then 5 view height. So this collab container copy. This should be C. Oh, C collab copy. Can't make this shit up. C collab list. I want to have different padding. I don't necessarily want the right hand padding anymore. Why is that 68? Don't know. Make this 5.5 view height. So again, creating like things that are replicated throughout. While we're at it, why is this height of this grid not 5.5? Min height. No. Now it's the same. For some reason it was in pixels. I don't know why. 5.5 view height at this exact size is actually really close to what's it called? To 60 pixels. And one thing I started messing around with is instead of using padding based on like view height, I would add basically random divs because you can create more control over the spacing. So I would space things around with divs. So I could set a height of like, let's say 11 view height, but then I can set the min height and max height. But then you can't do that with padding. If you do a padding of 5.5 view height, you're stuck with that. There's no max, there's no min. And this becomes particularly frustrating when you start looking at Webflow in mobile. So there's no, like, you can control this out. It's great that it shows you all these different viewports. And I agree, width is the predominant issue of things to worry about. But if you start doing padding based on view height, like it starts looking like this, which like that's not really how it's gonna look. Like it's gonna look more like not that scrunched, but somewhere around here. So the padding should be more, I don't know, representative of how it actually looks. There's a lot of things like that. Like if I went to the homepage today, I was like, oh fuck, like I didn't really align these images properly. So these images and all these, these photos, I was like, I don't remember it being so funky because it was looking like this. I was like, what the fuck? And like, I don't want, like, especially if I have other tabs open, I don't want to always be like pulling the whole thing in, just in the same way of like, I don't always want to be like dragging the width in and out. Like I want to use, again, what you can see is like the right edge slider. So yeah, because these are being stretched in a specific way, like the sizing, there's probably a better way to do it. And there's probably heights I can kind of set. But yeah, sorry, watch this go off. So yeah, little weird things like that that kind of get annoying. But I don't know, like Webflow has this wish list, which I think is a great idea, and they used to do a lot of stuff off of it, but I haven't seen a lot of meaningful updates out of Webflow for a while, which is, I don't know if they're restructuring everything. I really hope there's things like interactions they're restructuring and rethinking, because it's such a mind fuck to organize. Like if you start adding a lot of interactions, it just becomes this like list you can't even navigate. And it's definitely a kind of a mind fuck in terms of like how you redesign that experience to like control all your interactions in a way where like it's only contextual to what you're looking at instead of having to see all of them at all times, because it gets very overwhelming if you have to have individual interactions for opening and closing of, like, let's say the prompt at the bottom or the notification, not the live stream thing I had going. Like you have one of those. You have interactions for the hover states on like carousels, which actually aren't on the homepage. So it's a lot of little things, but overall, like Webflow is super good. User still has to put in some effort if he wants the best experience possible. You can't expect the dev to adapt to every scenario if you're looking at a website on the Nintendo DS or IE. Very true. Very true. I think that's where I have some peace is I know who my target audience is, and it's, I don't know. I don't know if this is like, I don't think it's pretentious to say, but like I think everyone's gonna be on like good displays who needs to see my work the proper way. A lot of it's, ideally it's going to be a lot of like people in the creative field, and they don't typically design on like old TVs and stuff. Like one of my buddies has like this old Acer TV that's set to like grandma resolution, so everything's fucking massive. And like he's the one who had like 500 pixel viewable height. It was like a 32-inch TV, but it was like technically 500 pixels of viewable windows. And IE, like, yeah, some of those edge cases, like you just can't. You got to just throw in the towel at a certain point of like diminishing returns. Like if you want to break this, you can. Be my guest. Like just have a normal window and you'll be fine. Whether that flies for everything is a different story, but yeah, very true. But there are some things like getting into like scroll jacking and stuff like that. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know we did it a little bit at Apple, and we tried to do like the idea was, I think there's a lot of people who do it now. I think now it's more commonplace than it was at the time, but basically controlling the resolve state. So you have free scroll, but like if you end up in a weird transitional moment, it'll kind of move you to the right spot. So like let's say your image is like front and center. So there's like a clean resolve state. There's transitional states that aren't great, but like the resolve state is clean. I don't know who it was. I think it was one of the creative directors called it soft jacking after we're saying it's not scroll jacking. It's like a smoother experience. And I think that turned into soft, which turned into soft jacking. So yeah, throw a TM on that. Take that to the bank. Good old soft jacking. I'm glad no one can like clip fucking YouTube streams. Also, like if you're here, I'd be curious if anyone would want streaming on Twitch. I did bring it up last time, and I did a little more research into it to see what it takes. It's grown. I think it's kind of gotten, it has a lot of nice features that I'd like to leverage that YouTube doesn't, but YouTube's a little bit more universal. I can do Streamlabs Prime. That's like $14 a month or something. And who knows? Like if these streams keep growing, like honestly, the more subscribers and the more activity that happens on this account, like the more motivated I am to keep coming back. Like if I kind of just get to a point where I feel like I'm just, it's become a more cathartic thing of me just talking to the internet and no one's really listening. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign I'm not ready for a channel. But yeah, if there's interest, let me know. I definitely would be open to checking it out. There's benefits for me in there as well, but I think if it benefits people and they prefer Twitch, that's I'm all for it. Manual. Let's see. So this is already going sideways. Some of these are still on manual. I need to do. Let's just commit this real fast. Oh, and yeah, Mike, I don't know if you're here or not still, but custom light boxes. Big thing I wished was easier. Custom lightbox powered by the CMS. It's pretty lackluster, if you ask me. And like the way you do it in some of the videos I watched, it's one of those cost benefit things. Like yes, I wish it was better, but am I gonna grind it out? And it's like a lot of custom JavaScript you have to add in there. And I don't even know if you can start pulling in different data like titles, captions, or like just text. I don't know if it's purely media, if you can do conditional visibility on that. So if I want to have a video in there, will that show up or will it be stuck with images? There's already issues with conditional visibilities with CMS powered sliders. Talked about it last time. It just computes it in a weird order, so you end up with like this ghost slide with nothing on it, that you kind of have to work around. But yeah, that's in my last stream if anyone cares to hear rambles about that. 4. Oh, that's because I didn't. Yep. Gotta make all these images. Where are they? Oh, they're up top. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this first. So if I get these positionings all right. So what happens when you do manual grids? You kind of have to be okay with things just breaking. So right now there's multiple items within column 1, row 1. And when it overlaps, it kind of just, it looks really bad. So right now, if I go through these, I'm trying to do 2 to 8. So there's one column of padding on the left, but it spans to the edge and it's going to be one row. So that one's 3, 4, manual. This would be 2855. manual. Two, eight, eight, eight. Yeah, so I need to update the div class to match these, because it still has the old one from the grid view. And again, like it's something you can add combo classes to, but you get in a tug of war match you don't want to play. Like I'm telling you, it's not fun. You start like, I don't know, because that's like with the 8-column grid. The original idea was to have like the 8-column grid as the base, and have base characteristics to that I never touch, but then have combo classes of where I do one-off edits of those. But I still want to inherit the characteristics of the base. So if I go back and modify the base class, it'll do all the combo classes as well. It sounds easy and it sounds like it shouldn't be a problem, but I can tell you, maybe it's just me, my experience, I fucked it up so many times. I'd have like the container for the hero on one page, and it would be like container hero and the combo class of like secondary. But then there were secondaries that required one-offs, and then for some reason I wasn't able to track it. And it just got to like I was modifying height or padding for one of the pages and it would affect all secondaries. So then I would create like a triple combo class. Just don't do it. Like my understanding is that it's actually more performant to do just singular classes versus combo classes. Don't quote me on that. It was something I saw somewhere. But yeah, I mean, for what that's worth. Go ahead and not quote me on it. So that's why I went through and I created the system of like C as container and then go by like module type and then page. It's kind of a weird order, but it makes sense in my head. Alvin, thank you, man. I am glad you like it. It's still the 1.0, like the initial launch version. But I think it's getting there. I think there's nice elements to it. I think there's some things that are still a little cringeworthy in my eyes, but it's getting there. And there's like little features I want to add, a lot of like micro, I don't know, that sounds kind of knobbish to say like micro interactions, but there's little things that I really like about like on a lot of the carousel sliders, there's like the meta at the bottom, and there's the little like triangle square. It's a looping GIF. It took me 2 seconds to make, but to me that's one of my favorite elements because it feels alive. It's like it's kind of always moving, and that kind of goes with like the camera shake that's on here, the flickers on here. I kind of talked about that last time. Some of like the cinematic things that I can pull in. I want to add like hover states to these, like you hover over it, and I don't know if it's just like the lines just kind of like disperse and then reform back in. Just little things just to have fun. Like I want to me, this is like a foundation to build upon. And when I don't want to be responsible and do what I should be doing, I want to come in here and just like mess around with things. I don't know. It sounds like fun to me. So what I'm curious of how this scales. So you can see this has become a massive thing. And with all the conditional visibility, like all these extra divs that are set at a set height, like they're just not showing up. Like for Apple, it's just not there, which I think is nice. But this alignment doesn't quite work. But again, a very different viewing experience from what's on the default grid view. And I don't know what I like more. I think with this, all these like indexes where you can navigate to very specific content, I think it mitigates the problems with having such a tall page. Like this is going to be almost comically long. But I think it's okay to me. What is this one? What are you doing here? Oh. 2, 8, 11, 11. So this class needs to be updated. All right. So this. Thanks, Sari. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, side of the day, in case anyone. I mean, I think it's in the title, but yeah, kind of wild to me still. To get side of the day like independently on something built on my own it's fun. It's always kind of the goal with these sort of things. But sorry, I'm just like also thinking, I wonder if there's a way to do an overlap. Let's see. What if I do sticky? This might be ill-advised, but I'm going to try this. Height, 50 view height. And this, minus 50 view height. I don't know what I did. Fuck. Maybe not minus 50 on this. Oh, there's an overflow hidden. That's why. Turn that off. It should work. It's not work. Why? So that's a interesting feature bug of Webflow. Like if you have anything in this like upward chain of divs that's set to overflow hidden, any sticky feature just breaks. So it's a bit of kind of figuring out what's going on. That's typically the problem. Body. Grid offset shouldn't have it. See, content shouldn't have it. What's the problem? Is it here? Oh, it didn't set a position. So it's 50 view height, 25 view height is where it should stick. If said thing were going to stick. Okay, where? Oh, that's why it's no. Okay, so this should stick at 25% view height, or 20 view height, which should be here. Question then is, what is going on here? And it's gone. Oh, there we go. There's our problem. Lightbox. Why does the lightbox have an overflow hit? Clearly, this is not how it should be working. I wonder if it's because I'm trying to, like, you create artificial height to create the stacking effect, because if it needs to stick for any amount, you want the stick for 50 view height. It's not doing it. So then if you look at these, I mean, this should be 100. I want to make this like stack. Why is it doing this? I want it to like unpack as you're going through them. Okay, I need to just look at what I did on the home page. Look for this. So what did I do? Let me just do something real fast. See if we can get a little extra time. This was initially be out of here at 12, but kind of flown by, I'm not gonna lie. I would like to get something to show for. So what do we do here? Height 60 view height. It sticks at 20%. The 20 view height. So that's the additional padding below. Okay. This is masking it. So I do need the, I want it to look like. I want it to look like it's unstacking. I need something that covers the images at the bottom. Forgot about that. But each of these are 60 view height, 20 margin at the bottom. What's going on with these guys? Image. I don't understand how it's actually working properly. What the hell? Sometimes you start over, or I start overthinking things, like thinking there has to be some more complex system. So then is this scrolling out? Why am I being so stupid about this? Can I do any relative? I didn't do custom Z index. I think it just stacks properly. I think I'm getting carried away with. I'm overthinking it, of course. So for these images, I don't think I need this guy at all. Which sucks because I just did a lot of it. 20 view height. let's do 60 view height. And then we can get rid of this 100 view height. This is what I want to have stick at 20 view height. Stacking. Oh, that's necessarily good. I almost want to pin it at the bottom. So then I can stick this as well. Sticky. This should be 5.5. So if I stick this to the top at 11 view height, that should be at the bottom because I know my navigation's 11 view height. Or, so I know this is 60. So if it's 100 view height minus 60 minus 11, 29. So if I do a height of 29 view height, that'll match that perfectly. Actually, so the problem is that I ran into before is because my nav changes from a view height percentage to a pixel, I can't keep the like the padding or the like computing things based off of view height gets complex. So what I have to do is I have to set this to 0, set this to 40, but then set the inner padding to 11 view height. And then what I can do is I can then change this to pixel-based values. So it'll always like be at the right place relative to that. But part of me wants to like center align this. Let's see if I can do this. Vertical, left, vertical. What? It's about left. Go. Oh, this should be expand. So this is an idea. I don't know if I'm necessarily super into it. And see, the problem right now is that I have all these, I'm so dumb. These are creating this artificial scroll height. So if I want to create a delay between each of these slides, I can add in, I don't have to add like a separate div to do it. I can just add, I think just margin at the bottom ought to do it. Yeah, this offset alignment is kind of strange to me. So I wonder if I just do manual 5 to 8. Kind of weird. Oh, what are we doing here? Oh, it's this. Got the 20 view height. So this index list needs to have a negative margin of 20 view height. So that'll clean things up. And then this container would have a margin negative 20 view height. Ugh. Bottom. Oh. You get like weird things like this. So the problem is like this is kind of gonna scale. I mean, this is definitely not the layout I want. This looks like shit. But I think the idea of having a list view is nice. I published this to dev site. It takes a little while sometimes. Let's see. Come on, buddy. Thinking about it. Yeah, you can't see the modal that just popped up. It just says page unresponsive. You can wait for it to become responsive or exit the page. This happens a lot with Webflow. I don't know if it's just my site. That's a bit more complex. But it does happen quite a bit. Still thinking. Still thinking. There we go. Whoa. Kind of wild. I never thought about the... I mean, so this is like the issue. Like fully view height, computed stuff. Like I don't want to be too attached to like pitting things to a fixed height. Like it just becomes, oh, I don't know, it becomes complicated. And like when things unstick, it's like you get them kind of underneath here if you don't have the padding managed properly. I think one thing immediately that I'm seeing, if I go this route, I don't know. Just like it's interesting looking at like using this. Kind of wild. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. This guy. This should be in a div. Contained. The div. If I want this to stick, in a lot of the ways that I do, like my secondary content on like the product pages where like the left hand side will stick and then the right just kind of scrolls through. I'll probably want this to do the same. So I'll need this to be 0. Actually, I think if I do 11 view height and then minus 11 view height margin. Menu spacing. I want you in there. I want you in there. Not ideal. So yeah, this is where it's like where things like kick out. Let's see if I can just make it a little bit of padding to it. It should stack. It's not. Why? Why is it not doing that? Maybe that's not the right place to add the padding. Oh, these combo classes. If I get rid of it. I'll just lean into it, whatever. I don't know what I'm gonna undo if I don't want to like play that game of like maybe there's something in the custom code that's tied to item index that I just don't want to like. I don't like if I change that class to something else, then something else might break. So what I'm trying to do is get like these to like play nice and not overlap. Like that sort of skipping is not what I'm looking for. So if I do 20 pixels, this might do it. What happened? That's great. I don't know. Why is this behaving entirely different now? Weird. What did I do? So what did I do from here? I wish it would point out what you did, or you can get like a list view of like everything you, or like what you just undid. Because now I don't know. What was it before? So that's why like undo and redo are just not to be trusted. I'm just gonna go all the way forward and just see if I can figure this out. But I do like that this is sticking now to the bottom of my nav. I just had to create this random div. Do it. That's okay. Let's see. Might be because I moved menu spacing out. Let's see if this works real fast. Why did you do this with Webflow and not in collaboration with the developer? Two reasons. For me, I wanted something that I could update regularly. Hopefully that trash truck's not loud. For me, like I have all these products I'm working on, and I think the best example I could think of was like getting the email about side of the day yesterday, and then being able to push a disco stream feature to my my homepage, so I can capitalize on some of the like traffic that's coming in, or I don't know, like if I just want to like evolve the site, like having something that's tied into a CMS. The developers I know don't really want to do that, and I don't think they want to field requests for me to always be like changing things. Like I'm very iterative. So for me, Webflow gives me the option to just like dive in. Like I'm looking at like the list, or like a non-list view for collaborations right now, and like I don't know what that layout looks like. I'm still kind of, so this is the pros and cons of it. The pros is that it's flexible. The cons is that it's flexible. Like, I think when you have to hand things off to a developer, it sets it in stone and it's like, it's done. But with this, like, there's always, I mean, everything with web development can always be better. There's more efficient ways to code it. There's more flexible ways to code it. There's a better way of representing content. There's better scroll interactions. There's just like the list is endless. And for me, it's it's taken more time than I'd like. I'll be very honest. I think getting it to this point, I had told myself, like, I had wrapped up a client project and I worked on it in the evenings for a couple weeks and I got a good amount done. But then when I was done, I was like, all right, I'm going to commit the next 2 weeks full time. And like for me, full time is like I get up at 6 and I work till like 9 p.m. typically. Like I'm taking lunch, I'm getting workouts in, whatever. Like I'm taking my breaks, but it's a full day. And I went an extra 2 weeks of development, just getting this. No, it's like I don't know, 3 or 4 of getting things sorted out and where I liked it. So whereas if I had a developer, I could probably move on and more wholly dedicate myself to different products I want to release. Because at a certain point, this is holding me back from dedicating energy to different things I want to work on. Like some of the originals that I want to put out. Like you'll see a lot of them say work in progress or coming soon, and those are things that like I've been working on for years. And like the photos catalog, great example of something that's going to be a rabbit hole for me to just kind of like figure out the best way to do. Um, let's see. Yeah, I need to update my font. That's something else. I need to get the Stream Deck pack out that I was talking about earlier. So that's one of the problems. And the other reason why I did it was initially going in, and I still think there's viability to it. Um, that truck cannot figure out how to back up. It's like it's been backing up for the last 5 minutes. I had the idea of wanting to be able to sell myself and my services and my abilities to like small and mid-sized businesses, um, where I could just own things end to end. I could be someone who they can come to work out the branding, um, general art direction, content strategy, brand strategy, work through I mean, of course, the design of everything, work through the content, being able to leverage my photography, now video, um, and then through like all the different branding, my personal brand activations or whatever you want to call it, like through Instagram, like how I've learned to create systems around that. And then the last part is like the web presence. That's always such a barrier for a lot of small to mid-sized companies is like they don't want a Squarespace site, but they don't want to pay for an agency because a lot of them they don't have the budgets for it, and they don't need a lot of like the additional structure and um, I don't know. There's a lot of more hand holding with agencies that a lot of companies like. Some companies really want it and they value it. Some just don't need it. They need something more efficiently. So for me to be able to like do the design and then do the development of it, I thought it would streamline it, but it kind of makes it worse. Because then I can just noodle things till the nth degree of like, oh, this padding, like when I mess with it, like I want to set like the view height, and then I want to set like min and max heights, and then I want to change it to different scroll interactions. So I'm not so sure if I really want to, if I want to do it as a like a client offering or not. I'm torn. Like I'm doing it right now for a friend's resort. I think I showed it on stream last time, and it's not the greatest. It's like for them, they don't need the most complex thing, um, so it kind of works. But for me, I'm not the most efficient. So it becomes if I wanted to get to a point where like my portfolio side is, it's gonna be a lot. Like I don't. I don't know if that's really the best use of my time to sit here and noodle with all these different things. And I think I've learned a lot, like through the 2020 side I did, which does not does not function well. To like the 2021, which learned a lot from it. I'm starting to learn a lot in terms of like how I develop with a strategy, how I design, or when I design in Webflow and when I design in Sketch. I think that's a very important thing to sort out as well. And I think everyone's going to have a different balance and figure out like, okay, because it's very different designing in code. I'll be very honest. There's something in it in the way that you think more structurally where you can't really see outside of it. And then you start thinking about the limitations of the development versus like just designing and figuring that shit out later. So there's lots of learnings like that that maybe make it more of a plausible offering in the future, but I'm still kind of, I don't know, I'm oscillating it a little bit, and I know I could do it to a level that would be okay. It's just whether or not I feel like that's the best use of my time, or if I'd rather like with client projects collaborate with like Ari or someone else who's like that's what they do and they can do shit that like I can't do, like all the Webgl stuff that we've been doing with this folio, um, like that custom of an experience, like I've hit my ceiling. Like I'm out of my league when it starts getting to that kind of stuff. So um, yeah, hopefully it helps. Yeah, of course. Happy to talk about this kind of stuff. And probably too many details, but you know, once I get momentum and I have enough coffee, like I'll just keep talking. So um, yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask away. Collabs list. So I think for me at this point, like I kind of have it working. I really need to understand why this is what's going on here. Why is this pushing out? Jar. Why is this so tall? Oh, that's the stick. Okay. Get that. Collab list 20. That should be there. Let's get that. So now they're they're aligned. Why would it? Okay, that's there. So this is negative. Dislike. So this is when I start trying things like, oh, it's kind of working. So I wonder if I do -70 to offset it, if this is going to piss it off. It sure is. Okay. So then I just have to subtract 70 pixels from this. So this is like, I can't advise this. This is kind of hacky way of figuring things out. I'll probably regret it afterwards and wonder why, like, when you start doing responsive and scaling things, like why things are kind of weird. It's because I have all sorts of negative margins all over the place to kind of, it creates a tug of war. I think the hardest work for a designer is their own portfolio. Yeah. Yep. I don't know what it is. I can sit here and I can crank stuff out for other people all day, but the second it's for me, I don't know. Something just upsets the equilibrium and I just hate everything all of a sudden. You know what? That really shouldn't even be there. Oh. Really what I should be doing is 80 view height minus 60 view height. What just happened? It's 60 view height. Oh yeah, you can't put negative padding. Low. What I was trying to do is like get it so this overlap doesn't happen. So when this stick catches, this catches and scrolls out at the same time. But this is where it kind of gets into a point of diminishing returns where, I mean, I was up late. I got a couple hours of sleep. And am I making great decisions right now? Probably not. I think some of the ways I'm going about problem solving and creating like unnamed divs with tons of negative padding, probably not the safest bet. Yeah, and like I don't even know if this sticky idea is great. I just really get scared with media, and some of these are like long comps. Like so, if I go to Nixon, I'm curious. See, I don't even want to rely on this light box. I want to get rid of this light box. And so that's the problem. I mean, there's many problems, but one of the big ones is like I had a ton of issues with using the image element and getting blurry images from responsive images on mobile. So it tries to scale it. I talked about this last stream. For some reason in Webflow, the way, however, maybe I was using it incorrectly. From mobile, it would scale it down to optimize it, and then it would have to rescale it back up, so everything looked blurry. And apparently someone found out that there was a bug with, I think, conditional visibility in images where this would become an issue, and the workaround was just to use background images. So that's what I've done. And the problem with background images, like if you have stuff with variable height, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to do. You have to create all these combo classes where it's like on my homepage. All of these are combo classes, and we have to specify a height. So the height is being calculated off of the width, and they're all different. These are all different aspect ratios. They're all different widths. Height's 100 apparently. Oh, it's because that's a video. That's why. That one's different. So it's frustrating, and this also is a problem. Maybe I went too far and I didn't need to do all of them background images, but I went ahead and did it. The issue is, so Webflow has built-in lazy loading, which is great, but I'm not using it right now. They don't have an option to lazy load background images, only image elements. I think there's a way to do it. I don't know how. And also the issue I was having with some of these long pages is if you lazy load an element, right now, the way I had it set up, like it's not calculating the height. So if it doesn't load this image until it gets into the viewport, it's not calculating that height, which really messes up something. Like, so if you're at the top and you click on, say, cinematic, it's not going to take you to the right place because it's going to a place on the page. It's going to a height that's not calculated with the images loaded or even considered. There's no height on those. So it would be whatever else is here. So it'll get you kind of close. And then once it loads in, I think it recalculates and you can click it and it'll take you there. But it kind of fucked up the whole system. So another reason why I went background images. But that's where I think, like, for this, I'm gonna for sure keep it background images. Like, yeah, load time's not great. I wish I could defer a lot of it because what I did initially is I made all of this like I tried to work around it by creating the first image was eagerly, they call it eagerly loaded, so it's with the page load. So as you go around the site, like there's page load going on with this animation, and so you can kind of choose what assets are being loaded up front, which is awesome. But for the reasons I mentioned, like I couldn't use it, so it would have been nice to be able to ideally load this first image and then lazy load all these other ones. So I had specified that, but they were all blurry. It loaded so much quicker, but I just can't deal with blurry images. And it's a bug. Like it should be fine to load high res images for this, but it doesn't. So I have to load, like, some of these carousels are filled with like 8 images. And they're all really optimized in terms of like each image I think is like 200K, but 200K times 10 times 15 and you've got a lot of content you have to load. So something I want to work through too. Do you have experience with cargo websites? I do not. I had looked at them back in the day. I never really got into it. I don't think I could customize it as much as I wanted to. I always use Squarespace. Like that's where I started. Is I use Squarespace, and I literally wrote like 2,000 lines of code to to like basically play tug of war with everything and get it where it should be. Not advised. I mean, I learned CSS really well, or not really well, decently. But maybe it's changed, and maybe I just looked at it way back in the day. So it's not to say it hasn't changed or evolved. I think a lot of these platforms are getting a lot better. And that's the other, I mean, that's part of the commoditization of design, is that those are getting so good that a lot of companies can now hire, or like even they can do it themselves. Like they don't really need to hire anyone anymore to get on the web. Before it was like there was such a like barrier to entry for the web, where it was like if you wanted anything on there, like you had to go to pay someone. Now it's just like it's easy to register a domain. It's easy to start out with a design that's decent. It's easy to update the content through a CMS. It's pretty easy. So it's nice, but it's a double-edged sword at the same time. So any other questions? I might hop off. I've been going since 9. I wanted to make 4 hours, but I still can. I think I got a little more time. Definitely not used to talking this much, so maybe I need to work out my vocal cords or something. I don't know how that shit works, but hopefully this hasn't been just noise. I know, kind of a weird day, but did want to talk about this, at least talk through some of the things. I mean, ended up getting the live feature up, which I think was awesome. I was kind of worried it wasn't going to be able to work, and all the Awwwards traffic was being driven there, and there's this box that just won't go away. So I gotta turn this back on. Hopefully I'm still streaming. That's not accurate. But, oh, all right. So unless the chat's frozen, I think most people are probably pretty tired of me at this point. So thank you again to everyone who voted for the site. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who stuck around and put up with me for any part of this 3 hours. Thank you for all the questions. I really appreciate it. I think I'll be back with another stream soon. I think Ari's site's going to launch pretty soon. I don't want to give any dates because we're kind of working through the last details, and you know, it always ends up growing, but it's getting really close. It's really fun to play around with. So yeah, I'll be back for that design stream again. Like I'm going purely off metrics of like what people seem most interested in. So design seems to be way more of people's interest. So I'm gravitating towards that. I still want to do more photo streams. So again, any thoughts, questions, comments, definitely leave those below. Definitely subscribe. I'll try and post out to my social networks. I kind of feel weird about doing it. I want to get to a point where I can just depend on the subscribe kind of doing the work for that. Not that I'm lazy, I just feel like I'm bothering people by like, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live. Because I want to do it more often. I want to do this regularly. I think it's, again, I think I've said this before, like it's cathartic for me to kind of talk out some of these thoughts. Maybe not cathartic, but it's valuable for me to kind of talk these things out. And hopefully you guys get something out of it. So I'll be back with like an Ari stream, kind of talking about the site, the process, different things with that. Not sure when. Might be next week. Again, not putting any firm dates out there. So yeah, thanks again, and I'll